Good morning, students. And today we are going to discuss about the topic clouds and precipitation. That is the last part of our chapter atmosphere in geography. So before we proceed into this topic, let me put you a question. What do you mean by clouds? Everyone, we come out of the house and look at the sky, then there we could see different structures of white patches which looks like a sheet, or which looks like a cauliflower shape, or which looks like some feathery structures. Absolutely, we see them. But have you ever wondered how these clouds are formed and how they play the vital role in determining the weather or the temperature of that particular area? Is there any question, my dear students? Is there any question that how the clouds are formed? The answer for this is that these clouds are nothing but droplets of water. I mean, a mass of water droplets. We have many rivers, lakes in our hometown, and because of the high temperature, this water evaporates. And since the water evaporates, because of high temperature, low pressure area creates in that particular place, and because of the low density, these water molecules or the vapors float towards the sky. At one level, when it reaches the point of a condensation, line of condensation, we say it as line of a condensation, and all these water vapor, minute water droplets, like water droplets, this joins together and form a very big or a huge mass droplets of water known as clouds, and these are suspended in the atmosphere. And all these water molecules or the water droplets of that particular area has a different structures and the different kinds of clouds. In that aspect, clouds play the most important part in the Earth's weather and climate. So according to the height of the clouds, these clouds are differentiated into three different types, that is high clouds, middle clouds, and low clouds. They are differentiated on the basis of the height. And even in that particular height, they are differentiated on the basis of the shape and the structure. So when you speak about the high clouds, there are three different clouds: cirrus, cirrocumulus, and cirrostratus. The one phenomena or the common point with these high clouds is that they do not give rainfall. The rainfall that we get because of these high clouds is very rare, but we get rainfall because of the low clouds. Or when middle clouds combines or condenses with the low clouds, we have the possibility of getting high amount of rainfall. But in case of high clouds, they do not give us rainfall because all these clouds are dry. They have crystals, and all these clouds are dry. So the cirrus clouds, which is at the height of 8,000 to 12,000 meters, the structure of this cloud is fibrous, silky filament. It looks like a feather. The structure of these cirrus clouds looks like a feathery shape. And when you speak about cirrocumulus, all these clouds are like white patches of a sheet, or it looks like a sheet or a white patches, and all these clouds are composed of ice crystals. And when you speak about the cirrostratus, they are very transparent and smooth and silky. So the common phenomena about all these clouds is that they do not give rainfall, and the phenomena of getting the rainfall is very rare because they are dry. But in case of a middle clouds, when these clouds combines with the lower clouds, they have the possibility to give a rainfall, and they are associated with rain, snow, or sleet. In such a case, in middle clouds, there are three different types, that is altostratus, altocumulus, and nimbostratus. And all these names are given because of the shape and the structure. So altostratus, it means which looks like a thin sheets of blue or gray color. It looks like a blue or gray color, and the structure of that altostratus, it's very thin. But in case of altocumulus, you see, and all these clouds are frozen water droplets, but here in altocumulus you could see like a cauliflower structure. I mean, for example, when you look at the wool or a sheep, You could see the hair and the sheep is like rounded in structure, like bands, like a band in structure. So such a clouds which looks like a cauliflower shape, or it looks like a pack of wool, are known as altos cumulus clouds, and that is why we name these clouds as sheep clouds. And the next cloud that we are speaking about in middle cloud is a nimbostratus, which are very dark, and they are associated with rain, snow, or sleet. The phenomena of this nimbostratus, it can give us the rainfall. So the next cloud is a stratocumulus. So all these clouds associated with the low clouds have the possibility of giving the rainfall, and particularly about the stratocumulus, they are non-fibrous low clouds found in rounded patches. The stratocumulus are round patched. You could see when we draw the diagram, we always put rounded patches, isn't it, my dear students? So the thing that when we draw a cloud in a diagram, we just make a arc curve like in a banded shape, and such clouds are known as a stratocumulus, which looks like a banded patches of a round banded sky. It appears between 2500 to 3000 meters. It is associated with the fair or clear weather conditions. So the next cloud that we are going to discuss is about stratus. These clouds are low-lying clouds which has water droplets, and since it has water droplets, they are very denser and they are associated with rain or snow. And the next cloud is a cumulus cloud, which is also the low cloud. It is like dome shaped and resembling like a cauliflower, and it is associated with fair weather conditions. And the next cloud, which is very important cloud that we are going to discuss, is about cumulonimbus, which has the capability of producing a very heavy rain. So when we look at this type of clouds, cumulonimbus cloud, it also resembles like a round patches, non-fibrous. More or less, the appearance is more or less similar to the stratocumulus, but these cumulus clouds are arranged in a parallel type. So when we see such kind of clouds in the sky, absolutely there is a capable of producing heavy rain, snow, or tornadoes. So the next topic that we are going to discuss is about the precipitation. What is a precipitation? It is nothing but a fall of water. That's it. Falling down of a condensed water vapor in different form is called precipitation. Either it may be like the hail, or a rain, or a sleet, or a snow. When the dew point is reached in the cloud, water droplets become saturated and start to fall, and this is how the precipitation occurs. What do you mean by dew point? The level at which, or the temperature at which air gets saturated is known as a dew point. After its saturation, it automatically starts to fall down, and they fall on the earth as a precipitation. And there are different factors that influence the form of precipitation. I mean the form of rainfall, or the form of the fall of water. That is temperature that determines the factor of precipitation, altitude, cloud type, precipitation process, and the atmospheric condition. And all these 5 factors influence the form of precipitation on one or the another way. So there are different forms of precipitation. One among that is a drizzle. What do you mean by drizzle? It is a minute droplets of water which falls at the beginning of the rainfall. A minute droplets of water which is less than 0.5 millimeter. And such a kind of falling of water is known as a drizzle. In Tamil we would say thural. So if sometimes this drizzle are associated with the fog, absolutely they reduces the visibility. Because the fog is formed at the lower level, at the ground level. Let us say that the fog is a cloud. We can imagine that fog is a cloud that forms at the lower level of the atmosphere, lower level of the ground level. So when these droplets of drizzle forms combines with them, they reduces the visibility, and it causes a lot of traffic problems also. So the next is rain. What is rain? The widespread form of a precipitation. It means the widespread form of a fall of water, and that is known as rain. Here the diameter, the size of the water drop is more than 5 millimeter. And next one is sleet. Clear? Sleet. It means the precipitation in the form of pellets. It means like stones. Precipitation in the form of pellets is known as sleet. And this is a mixture of rain and snow. This sleet is a mixture of rain and snow, where you could see a small stone like structure as down, if it falls down the ground, it melts again. So snow, so what do you mean by snow? Snow is formed when condensation occurs below freezing point. So if the freezing point is, if the water droplet is below the freezing point, it freezes like a cube, the solid packed structure known as snow. And the next thing, form of precipitation is hails. Hails are like a chunk of ice. It means ice cubes that falls from the sky. Such a kind of hails can be witnessed during a hailstorms or thunderstorms. It is a solid form of precipitation where a small pieces of ice falls down from the sky, and they are more destructive and they are more dreaded. The reason behind that is because they destroy the agricultural crops and human lives, and they cause a lot of human effects. And that is why this hailstorms or the thunderstorm is a very disastrous and destructive to the life of agricultural crops and human lives. So these these types that you have seen, like drizzle, rain, sleet, snow, hail, and all these things form a different types of precipitation. So when we speak about the precipitation, precipitation is nothing but the fall of condensed water vapor from the sky. That's it. So as I told you earlier, the rain is nothing but the most widespread form of precipitation is known as rain, and that is what we call it as a rainfall. This rain is the most predominant type of a precipitation, where we can witness this form of a precipitation everywhere. But in few cases, but in few places, we could witness a hail, snow, and a sleet. Do you know how the rain occurs? As we had discussed earlier, this moisture laden air masses which has water molecules on it rises up and forms a cloud, and after reaching the condensation level, and they fall back as a rainfall, I mean as a rain. So in this part, based on the mechanism of rising of the air, earlier you would have discussed that air mass rises up, but here in this particular rainfall we are going to discuss about the mechanism of rising the air. Then what are the consequences of that rising of air? Based on that, there are three different types of rainfall, that is conventional rainfall, frontal or cyclonic rainfall, and the third one is orographic rainfall. So first we are going to discuss about the conventional rainfall. So when we speak about convection, it means a heat. You all know that the earth gets heated, higher the temperature, lower the pressure, and because of that the heat from the solar radiation or from the insolation, it means the rays of the sun that we get from the sky, the surface area there gets heated, and once it gets heated, it rises and expands, and such kind of water molecules rises up towards the sky and moves above and condenses there and results in the rainfall. This is what we have studied. But in case of a conventional rainfall, it is true that the layer of the earth gets heated. As it gets heated, it expands and rises. The water molecules or the water vapor which reaches the condensation level, and then it falls down here as the conventional rainfall. So such a kind of rainfall, because of heat, because of the radiation from the sun, And such a kind of rainfall, you can witness such a kind of rainfall in a tropical and subtropical regions in the summer months. And these rainfalls most probably occurs in the equatorial regions in the evening time. And that is why we name it as a 4 o'clock rainfall, because this kind of rainfall can be witnessed in equatorial regions in the evening time during the months of summer season. So the air gets expands, the air gets heated up, expands and rises up, and after reaching the condensation level, it cools and falls as a rainfall. So such a kind of rainfall which we get because of the heat is known as conventional rainfall, and such a kind of rainfall is witnessed in tropical, I mean in equatorial regions in the evening. And since this rainfall occurs mostly in the evening, we name it as a 4 o'clock rainfall. And the next rainfall that we are going to study is about the cyclonic rainfall or the frontal rainfall. Here, a rainfall occurs when warm and cold air masses converge. You all know that warm air has lesser density and the cold air has more density. It has a capability to sink, and the warm air, when mixes with the colder or when converges with the cold air, it makes them warmer and takes them up, and after reaching the condensation level, the precipitation takes place on the boundaries between the warm and the cold air, where the warm and the cold air meets, and such a kind of rainfall is known as a frontal rainfall. It occurs where air masses converge and move upwards. So when warm air masses and cold air masses converges at a place, and because of that conversion, the warm air masses rises above the sky and reaches the condensation level and falls back as the water, droplets of water known as precipitation, and it takes place in the boundaries between the warm and cold air where they meet together. So such a kind of rainfall is known as a cyclonic or a frontal rainfall. So the next topic that we are going to discuss about the rainfall is orographic rainfall. So when I speak about oro, it means mountain. Oro, it means a mountain. So the rainfall that takes place occurs because of a mountain. Mountain is orographic rainfall. But here there is a question. So if a rainfall is happening because of the mountain, do the both sides of the mountain get rainfall, or one side of the mountain get a rainfall? It means, for example, when you speak about the southwest monsoon which comes from the south direction, it strikes towards the western coast, which is from Gujarat to Kerala. So as soon as it strikes the western coast, that means that western Ghats, the air rises up because the western Ghats stops the flow of southwest monsoon. As it stops the flow of southwest monsoon, as soon as it strikes the mountain, it rises up and reaches the condensation level, and after reaching the condensation level, it rains there. Since, as I told you, the western coast and this water or the wind, southwest monsoon wind, which travels from a longer distance from the sea, has a high moisture content, and it sheds all the moisture content in the place where it strikes the mountain. So you could see a green patches along the western coast and the western Ghats. So these areas receive high amount of rainfall, but since all the moistures are shed on that particular side, these areas are known as what? Rain-fed region, and on the other side there are no possibility of rainfall, and therefore we call it as a rain shadow region. So with this, and the next topic that we are going to discuss is about humidity. Humidity is nothing but the amount of water vapor present in the atmosphere. So it is an important aspect of atmosphere. The amount of water vapor present in the atmosphere is referred to as a humidity. Humidity of atmosphere is high when it has large quantities of atmosphere. The amount of vapor in the atmosphere is called absolute humidity. So humidity, it means the amount of water vapor that is present in the atmosphere, and absolute humidity is the amount of water vapor in atmosphere is called absolute humidity. So with this we have completed our chapter 3.